Dr. Shabir, welcome to Let the Quran Speak.
Pleasure to be on.
Now, Dr. Shabir, there's some people who cannot fast in Ramadan, and they might be feeling a little bit left out. So I thought we could devote this video to them, and maybe you could share what they can do to feel like they are part of Ramadan as well.
Yeah, first, I think it's important to recognize that Allah does not hold a person responsible for any more than they can do. The Quran is very clear about this, that Allah is not going to penalize a person or hold them responsible for except ma wusaha, what they are able to do, what they're able to bear. So Allah has already given permission in the Quran, in the second chapter of the Quran, speaking about fasting in the 184th verse. The Quran says, وَعَلَى الَّذِينَ يُطِيقُونَهُ فِدْيَةٌ طَعَامُ مِسْكِينٍ. Those who would have found the fasting difficult have the possibility of giving a fidya, which is a sort of compensation, which entails the feeding of a poor person. So that's already mentioned in the Quran. So one should not feel bad to begin with, that, it looks like everybody else is fasting, I can't fast, so, I'm deficient in some way. Mm-hmm. No, you're not deficient. In fact, you will continue getting reward for doing all of the good things that you do, and you're not being penalized for the fact that you can't fast.
Mm-hmm. And I guess in the Quran itself, it speaks about what fasting and Ramadan is about. It's about achieving that God consciousness, which you can achieve through other means.
Exactly. So for those who are able-bodied and they're able to fast, that is the best means. But for others, there are other ways. And one way is through dua, or supplicating God, praying to God through the 5 times daily prayers. But in addition to that, dua, just making dua. Because one of the verses that come in the whole string of verses dealing with fasting is the 186th verse of this surah, Surah Al-Baqarah, where it says, وَإِذَا سَأَلَكَ عِبَادِي عَنِّي فَإِنِّي قَرِيبٌ. When my servants ask you about me, say, I am close. أُجِيبُ دَعْوَةَ الدَّاعِ إِذَا دَعَانِ. I answer the call of the one who makes dua to me. So we should make dua to God and achieve closeness to Him during the month of Ramadan through a variety of ways.
Mm-hmm. I guess one way could be just, reading the Quran and reflecting on its message, right?
Yes, reading the Quran, reflecting on its message, studying a book to learn about Islam, understanding it comprehensively, and so on. We should not, however, think that the way to draw close to God is only through a pious devotion or the intellectual exercise of studying the faith. But it's all part of religion to do good to humankind and animals and caring for the environment and so on. So we should think of Islam holistically. What has happened in Muslim societies, it seems to me, is that we can recognize a distinction between people who are said to be religious and others within a Muslim society. Now, the people who are recognizably religious, and I say recognizably because really the religiosity is in the heart of the person, and we can't really see that. But we can see some outward manifestations, a person growing a long beard for a man, a woman wearing an Islamic traditional attire, and so on. These are things that mark a person off as being devoted to the religion. Now, what happens, Safiya, is that I find that those who are considered devoted to the religion, their concern in the month of Ramadan is largely with finishing the recitation of the Quran. So they might read a chapter, a portion per day, each day to finish the whole book in a month. And then they would, keep tabs with each other, like, did you finish? How many did you finish already?
Or I finished and I finished reading the Quran and I'm on the second
started all over again.
Started over.
And then the other aspect of this is that, especially for men, a lot of emphasis is on attending the Taraweeh prayers in the mosque. And some people treat it as though like it's almost an obligation. You just have to be there. You must do this. And then, so all of these are good things. I'm not knocking that. Like reading the Quran on your own, completing it once, completing it twice, all of this is great. And going to the mosque for the night prayers of Ramadan, where it is safe for people to do so, this is commendable. Like, who can knock that, right? But if that becomes the entire focus of the people who are known to be religious, then what about other aspects of religion, like looking after the poor and needy, visiting people in the hospitals and in the prisons, taking care of widows and orphans in society? All of these things which traditionally Islam was known for, these things cannot be seen to be coming from the people who are visibly religious. There may be other people who are Muslims and doing all of these things, but their actions are not so closely tied with the goals and the aspirations that the visibly religious people associate with the month of Ramadan.
So you think that in the month of Ramadan, we should intensify those things, like doing good generally and helping society in general?
Yes, there has to be a balance. Like people are attracted to different things. Some people are attracted to praying in the mosque. So we're not going to stop them from praying in the mosque and say, okay, instead of praying today, just go out and help the poor. They might even see this as being sacrilegious. But there are other people who are attracted to the idea of going out and feeding the poor. So what needs to be done is that all of this has to be incorporated into the ambit of what it means to be a mosque, what it means to be a Muslim society, what it means to be righteous and pious. So the piety should not be counted only against how many rakats of prayer you did in the mosque, how many cycles of prayer, but it should be also measured up against like how many sick persons did you visit in the hospital where it is safe to do so given our pandemic conditions. How many people did you visit in the prisons? How many homeless people did you deliver a sandwich to? And so on. So we have to incorporate all of this into what we consider to be religious and what it means to be righteous in Ramadan.
Those are really great insights, Dr. Shabir. Thank you for that.
You're welcome. You can change someone's life this Ramadan. Donate as much or as little as you can and be part of our project to share the message of Islam to people across the globe. Visit QuranSpeaks.com and donate. Your contribution is zakat eligible and tax deductible. May God keep you safe and healthy. May God bless you and your loved ones with the very best always.